Well, hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to TUI'S, Snider's Offbeat and Overlooked. This is a streaming show on YouTube where I interview a variety of experts about everything from cemetery symbolism, forgotten history, folklore, the paranormal, quirky travel sites, even UFOs, basically anything and everything that tickles my fancy. And as I always say, I have a very ticklish fancy. Now, in case you're new here, woohoo, there she is, the guest just showed up. I'm keeping her in the green room. All right, I see you, Kathy, I see you. Anyway, in case you are new here, I'm TUI'S Snider. I write books, I give talks, and I do a whole lot of research. This week's guest is a returning guest. It is Kathy Benjamin. I had her on back in February, and man, you guys loved her so much. I've gotten a lot of like one of the best responses ever. People just telling me that they enjoyed the humor. And you never know how that's going to land because some people, I'm pretty irreverent. That's how I deal with anything in life, basically. And Kathy's hilarious. And so we laughed a lot during that show. And a lot of you guys responded to that. So I brought her back on. She has this incredible collection of funeral ephemera. You guys are going to love it. I know that Ken Reed, who is here from Colorado, he's really going to dig this. Let me say hello to everybody. What do we have? Whoa, we got a good turnout. I love it with people. Yeah, you guys are liking this topic. I can tell. Looking forward to the show. Hello, hello, Francisco over in the Netherlands. Wade, who's driving back to Wisconsin. Howdy. I like that short you had earlier today that I watched. Debbie up in Canada, thank you for coming. So good to see everybody. All right. Oh, and McIntyre Connie, hi. Thank you. Another Texan showing up. Did I miss anybody? I'll go back and look a little bit more. Well, good. It's always nice when we have a good crowd here. And of course, I knew that Kathy was going to be a big draw. So I'm not going to babble on quite as much as I usually do because, oh my gosh, I got to tell you, she sent me so many great images. I mean, I couldn't even use them all. And I think I spent more time putting together the little, slideshow for this than I ever have on a show before because I just kept kind of getting lost and just looking at them and just, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be doing something. But I'd be like, oh, cool, I want to go look up this, or when was it? I wanted to do research. So she shared such interesting things. I think you guys are going to love it. But I do, of course, have a few things to tell you about. I want to remind you to check out the little teaser trailer for the video that I did in conjunction with the City of Austin Public Parks for their Oakwood Cemetery. I walked around the cemetery for 9 hours babbling about whatever headstone they pointed me at. And so I'm so curious to see what the finished product's going to be. But you can get the little teaser trailer. I do have it in the description box below. It's only 40 seconds long. You can open it in another window and watch it later. And, give me a like on there too, because that makes me look good, right? Or leave a comment. That would make me look good in their eyes. Okay. Now, this week's sponsor, I thought would be good to have use the white bronze monuments. I may have used them before. I like this ad, though, because it kind of ties in with our funeral ephemera topic of the day. And I like how they mention here, scientists tell us that white bronze is everlasting, will not rust, moss grow. It's where they say moss grow instead of grow moss, crack or corrode. And they are so right. That was great. But as you probably know, if you watched the show before, after World War I, they needed that zinc for the war effort, and it basically killed off those beautiful white bronze monuments because they had zinc in them. We call them zinkies. A lot of people do. So just wanted to tell you that. Now, of course, the real sponsors of this show are my Patreon supporters, which includes Bob, Connie, Ian, Scott, Ghost Cat, Jessica, Angel, Anne, NVJ, Ken, Patty, Sarah, Julie, Margaret, Hugh, Mikhail, Naomi, Tim, Pete, Sarah, Rachel, and the other Tui, who is absolutely no relation to me. And also, I'm wearing my I'm a Morning Person pin that Ken Reed gave me. It's one of my favorites. It just seemed to tie in with the funeral ephemera. I love that. Oh, I'm just making it worse, aren't I? Okay, now maybe it's readable. I'm a morning person. I love a good pun. All right, it was funny, and I thought it tied in with the humorous topics that we'll be getting into. And of course, we're going to be, I mean, there's death involved too, so it's not going to be all hardy-har. As for our books of the week, I wanted to point out the books by our guest. Now, last time Kathy was here, we delved into her book, Funerals to Die For. We went over the hour. We barely scratched the surface. And if you listen to that show, that was a hefty show. There was a lot in it. We'll get her book because, oh my gosh, there's way more than we could include in that show. And then next month, she has a new book coming out. It's called It's Your Funeral. And I love the little party hat on the skeleton. As you can tell, it's going to be lighthearted and irreverent, but also informative. Everything I love about Kathy says, plan the celebration of a lifetime before it's too late. And I have to say, one of my favorite aunts always talked about, and this made a big impression on me as a little kid, that when she went, she was going to have this big party, blah, blah, blah. I was so excited about it because she was a pretty wild aunt. I mean, just, she picked us up at the airport once, and all she had on was like a negligee, and she was in this big black car, like Lincoln car, and she was like a pilot. So, I was fully expecting her to deliver. And guess what? She passed away a couple years ago, and as far as I know, all they had was a regular old memorial. I was a little bummed. She needed this book because, man, she could throw a party in life, and I was fully expecting an interesting one at her thing. So I've got to say, this book, the second one here, It's Your Funeral, it's currently on pre-order on Amazon. And it's always good to pre-order an author's book because that helps tell Amazon that people want to read it. And so it can help buoy a book and make it more, sell more. And Amazon's AI will then dish it out to more people. I just pre-ordered it. So I invite you guys to as well if you enjoy today's show. So let me tell you a little more about our guest. Let's see if I can make this bigger so you can see it. No, it's not going to let me. Well, anyway, there you go. I'm going to give you a little background about her in case you're not familiar with her. Kathy Benjamin is a writer and editor at grunge.com. She's a former columnist at cracked.com and Mental Floss as well. Now, the last time we had her on, we talked about Funerals to Die For. And like I said, we barely scratched the surface. And she's got that great new book coming out next month, It's Your Funeral, Plan the Celebration of a Lifetime Before It's Too Late. That's coming out soon. She today, though, we're really not going to focus so much on her books. We're going to talk about her fabulous collection of a funeral ephemera. And oh my gosh, it is great. So without further ado, I am going to bring Kathy on. Oh, I should tell you as well. You're going to want to, if you're on social media and you're active there, click down or look down below in the description. Make sure you follow her. She's on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, which I have been neglecting. But anyway, she's on these places, and so check those out. All right, let me bring Kathy on. Clickety click. Oh, now my mouse is spazzing out. Come on now. Get over there. Hi. Hi. My mouse is being weird. Ta-da! I got you. Whoop, whoop. Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Hi. Good. Yeah. Sorry I gave you a scare. I'm here.
That's good. I thought, well, I have to babble a little bit. Hopefully she'll show up. I'm glad things are good and there wasn't some sort of issue.
No, it's been a hectic day, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I do appreciate you coming and spending some time with us. People have been excited. Oh, it says I have sound. Someone's having trouble with the sound. No sound? Let me double check. Can you guys hear us? I have sound. Wow, that would be awful if I was talking all that time and no one heard. I think some people are hearing us. Okay. Hey guys, if we need to adjust the volume between us or we're echoing or whatever, as always, let me know. I love StreamYard, but for some reason, it can sound great to my ears. And then when I listen back later, there's an echo or like one person's loud and the other isn't. So just chime in. They're real good about telling me. I know you're in Texas too. I don't know if you're having the same kind of day as we are. It's like 90 degrees. This baffles me because it's 90 degrees out, but it's gray. And so, and I'm from the Pacific Northwest. So I still, when I see that, even after living here, I still go, oh, I must need his sweater, and then I go outside and I'm like, what? This is wrong.
Yeah.
So,
No,
Oh,
it's been
okay,
crazy
we got it.
raining.
It's been rainy? Oh, the
Well,
cat's settled now.
not today, but just, recently in Texas, it's been insane. Like,
Oh, I know. It's been really, really just a deluge. Yeah, it was
yeah,
crazy.
never seen anything like it. It's weird.
No, very, very rainy. I was like, wow. I don't know. They always say that the lightning bugs will like that. So I don't know. Who knows? I hope they do. Your sound is fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now we can do the real show, everybody. Oh, everybody likes the show. Okay. Now, I have to ask you the obvious question before we dig in. Is just, how did you start this collection or decide? Did you just one day realize I have a collection, or did you consciously go, I want to collect this? You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, it's I was trying to remember earlier exactly what did it. I mean, we're talking, this is, I think pretty much when I got the new book deal, which would be last March, somehow I went on eBay and started looking at things, and I genuinely don't remember. I was probably
justifiable research. See, I do that with books. I'm like, well, it's a write-off, so I can write. That's why I was like, I'm going to pre-order her book because, hey.
Research, yeah. No,
exactly.
Yeah. It was just, and I'm a very obsessive person. So once it started, it was every day. Let's check eBay. That's where I get them, is eBay, because last year we couldn't go out. It'd be cool to go to like an antique shop or something.
Yeah.
That's only become something possible to do recently. And so
that's in your future.
Just every day, just going on eBay, seeing what was there, and just this whole world opened up. I was amazed. The stuff you can learn from this, both from letters, obviously, where people are actually writing about their thoughts and experiences, but also the thing that I started on was the bills, was the invoices, the receipts for funerals. And you can, even those, you can learn a lot, and there's different patterns and different periods of time, and you see trends change and everything. So yeah, it's been fascinating.
It's great. I hadn't thought about going on eBay. I spent a lot of time in newspaper archives. It's kind of an obsession, and reading the ads and then getting sidetracked. And even there, you can read between the lines of like, why did they word it this way? Why did they spell it this way back then? And like you're saying, that it really does teach you stuff. And then all the stuff you shared, I was like, oh my gosh, this is real insights and so fascinating. Yeah. So let's see here. Let me see if I can bring up, bring this together. Aha. So I can show some. So I sort of organized them by different, I don't know. I mean, you had so much. I couldn't have everything in there. I wanted to. It's just,
and I sent you, a fraction. These are 60 pages each, and 2 of them are totally full, and 1 is.
I was going to ask. That was another question: how you keep them organized and all that.
Yeah,
so that's great.
I have. Wow. And then I have my. So this is my billhead one, but of course then I get more, and I tried to put them in order of date and everything, and so then I have a third one that's just basically.
We lived in the same town. I'd be over there just like I'd invite you over for coffee, and then I'd be like going yeah, that is so cool. Wow, great stuff. Okay, so I really wanted to emphasize to people how much history between the lines there is. So I chose some of the ones that I really enjoyed from your thing, and I don't know. We could just dive in. So I love this. I learned the word bombazine from going through your stuff. I don't know if anyone knows. Oh, hi, Duckman is here. I think that's Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for coming. Now, I'm just going to query the audience if anyone knows what bombazine is, besides a delightful word that you instantly have to say out loud. I thought that was neat. Just mull it over, people. There's no contest, so I'm just going to dive in. But she had this from, what year was that again? It was like 1827. I kind of tried, had them a little bit in order. I mean, that's pretty early. And you've got this. You were saying this one was a little bit different because of the items that you don't usually see.
Yeah, I've actually never seen. This is the only time I've seen one where it was about. I don't know if you can read it up there, but it's the clothing, and it's the black fabric and the bombazines, just little decorations that you'd put on your house and on your person to say, "Look, someone died, and I'm sad." And this is 27. So technically this is not Victorian yet.
Good point.
Yeah, so we're seeing that develop, this thing that we associate with the Victorians. Technically Queen Victoria is not on the throne yet. So we're seeing that develop. Like this is a big bill. What is it? 945. So 27. That's a lot of, you can see 5 yards, black crepe, lots of crepe. The people just covered everything in crepe when someone died. So yeah, they're just covering everything. Yeah.
And Nicole got it right. Whoop, whoop. Good job, Nicole. So this, of course, I had to go look. I just loved, I like this French and Canton silks and jet black bombazines, morning articles of all kind. Have a look close up there. And then, of course, I had to go and look up, and here's just an example of this was worn by Queen Victoria. But I love that point you make, that this was already popular before it wasn't like she came out and laid down the mandate. This was a trend that was already developing.
No, yeah. And so she went into mourning in 1861. Yeah. So she gets married in 41. He dies 20 years later. So we're talking, Civil War, beginning of the Civil War, basically.
Wow.
But yeah, it had developed a long time before then. Early 1800s is when things change. Yeah.
And I liked it that they said one of the reasons that bombazine was popular is because it had a dull surface, which made it suitably solemn. I never thought about that. Like, you don't want something shiny. It's like, but yeah. So.
Well, even their jewelry, they were supposed to trade it out for like the black jet jewelry and things that wouldn't be overly shiny. And, yeah.
Everything I like, I'm all about the sparkles. Yeah, I'd be in trouble. All right, and then you've got one here. What was this one? The bill. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, this one here. I'll zoom in on what you mentioned about it.
Yeah, so this is San Francisco in 1886. So California's a state by then, but it's still the back and beyond for most of America. And so you have people go out for the gold rush and then to sell things to the gold rush, and then you have San Francisco building it up and everything. But these are basically pioneers still in 1886. And then they die out there, but all their family is back east. And so you've died, but your family wants your body. So this is a place that makes specific reference that it says a special attention given to disinterring bodies and preparing them for shipment to the Atlantic states and elsewhere. So you've died, you're getting smelly, they bury you, your family finds out from a letter that takes forever that you've died, they get in touch, say, hey, we'd really like to bury them in the family cemetery back east or whatever. Can you get them to us?
I know, what a job. Would you not like that job? Oh my gosh. Yeah, and then I like that they also, because back then a lot of furniture stores had their little side hustle was undertaking. But
I mean, almost all of these, I mean, more than not, until you get well into the 20th century, are furnishers, because you had basically carpenters who would make just the plain casket, and then they move into furniture, and then they're already making caskets for people. So why don't they take over the whole thing of funerals, which they do? So all of them end up being furniture and undertakers.
Yeah, they go together. It makes sense. And I just had to enlarge that a little bit. I liked that whole little cluster they had on there.
There are some incredible, especially the English ones. There are some.
Oh, those are beautiful. I made one section, just some beautiful ones we could talk about at the end. I was like, depending on how it went, there's just some that are so darn pretty. Really, really. I know Ken Reed's going to really like this. This one. Okay, this one was really interesting. So maybe you could tell us a story, and I did enlarge it a bit too.
So you can see this one isn't about undertaking at all. It's the New York Central Railroad Company. And so when you read it, the bill is for the funeral and what they did for the funeral. And it has all the regular things that you'd expect. And then I was going to point at it. No one seen me do that.
I thought I made it, enlarged it, but I didn't. Darn it, in a while.
Yeah, in the kind of the middle bit of the bottom bit of the middle writing.
Yeah, right there.
It says that what happened was this was a brakeman who was working along the line of the railroad companies, and he got hit by a train. And the person, who I assume is some sort of executive or important person at the company, said, he had no money, he had a large family, he had no friends who could help pay for his burial. And since technically, it's kind of our fault he's dead, I said we'd paid for it. So we're paying for this bill. That's why this bill is on, the railroad company stationery.
Such an interesting story behind this one. Yeah, that one really surprised me.
And it would be, it's one of those things where I've looked into a few of them, but whenever, early retirement, whenever I have time to go through and find out, what was the story? Like, it's easy to go on for all of these on like Find a Grave and find the people, which I've done for almost everything. But it would be interesting to find out exactly what this accident was. Did it make the newspapers? Things like that.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. I mean, I have a whole big file of things, the someday things to research, because I'm sure this happens to you. You're headed in one direction with your research, and then all this side stuff comes, and you're like, ah.
Yep. Can't
Wow, that was neat. I love all the stories, though. I mean, another book, perhaps.
Yeah.
I would read a book about all your things you discover with your ephemera. This one. Oh yeah, this one's great. This one had so much booze and tobacco. I'll zoom in here and you can tell people about it.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it looks pretty, but a regular bill or whatever, it starts out, we bought the casket, the box, the robe, and we paid for the hearse. And that's the top 4 lines there. And then the rest of it is tobacco and booze. It's just so you
and there's snuff on there. They even had snuff,
cigars, the pipes. I love that they have, I forget how, like 5 gallons of whiskey or something like that, and then near the top,
whiskey's on there twice.
Oh, three gallons. Yeah, 3 gallons of whiskey, and then they come up with a few other things they need, and then they're actually like, you know what? Let's get another quart of whiskey. Let's just.
I know. It's like you can see that there was a group of people saying, "What do we need? Oh, yes, we'll be. No, I think we need another quart of whiskey. That's not going to be. I mean, you can just hear like you kind of get the sense of the crowd like trying to figure out what to do. Yeah,
this is another one where I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen alcohol on another bill for a funeral before, and this one is just alcohol and tobacco.
Yeah, and the snuff. I mean, this must have been, like you said, I would like to see what that celebration was like. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a celebration to me more than a funeral. There was one here in Texas. There's a guy who I wrote about him in my book 6 Feet Under, but he dug his own grave in advance, and then he had this heap of dirt to pile on him, but he didn't want them to do it roughly. Like he wanted him to gently toss the dirt on him. So he hid whiskey bottles all throughout the mound of dirt, kind of like party favors. So they'd be like, oh, punk, oh, another one. I mean, I can imagine them. Yeah, no, I get to bury him. No, I want to bury him. That must have been
that's a good idea. I should put that in my book. That's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Hide favors in the dirt.
Hide some party favors. That is a fun thing to do. Why not? And then this is just so pretty. I mean, that font for undertakers, I love it. And
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Well, maybe I was just. We'll keep it. You go ahead.
No, I also like on this one, and I have another one that it does it on. I'm not sure if I send it to you, but where you're not going to pay to get brand new ones. So linen, whoever that was, maybe they died, maybe whatever, kicked out. So we're going to cross it out and add brother, bros. And there's one that has as well, like the guy's name, and then in not one but 2 places, someone has added and son.
Oh wow!
It's like I want them to know that I'm part of this too.
Oh, I didn't see that one, but yeah, the bros cracked me up. I was like, man, let's forget him, bros. Yeah. So that reminded me. I love this. That little hearse with like the dark, the black horses and the like ostrich feathers, and it reminded me of this guy who I met at a Saints and Sinners party or Saints and Sinners reenactments they do over at Oakwood. And I talked to him briefly and it got interrupted, but he handed me his card and it said like, Jim Johnson, male model or something like that. It was really, I was like, what? I really wish I had talked more to that guy, but he had this whole thing and he said he had horses too that he could have brought. So anyway, It just made me feel like maybe he was this guy in another life.
Beautiful. I mean, it must be, obviously they didn't have the car option, but still today it'd be like, I'll take a glass horse with horses. That's really cool.
I know. And there's another one. The cemetery in my little town, they have an old hearse parked there too, and I did hear from the groundskeepers that when the guy who played Chewbacca passed away, they when they buried him, they had horses bringing him to his grave that had sparkles on their hoofs, which has stayed in my head because I don't know who gets sparkles on their hoofs.
That's cool.
Now this one I really love because you have a sketch of a monument and you also have the letter that goes with it and stuff.
Yes. Great. Yeah, I have the letter. So it's the letters to, so this is the wife being buried and it's to the husband and he's saying, this is where we're going to get the stone from and this is why we're picking this design and what do you think about it? And then separate is the sketch of, this is what we're doing. And then I went on Find a Grave, which is a great website if people don't know about it.
Oh, I love it.
I found the grave, and you can see a lot of the details gone, but if you go look at it and you zoom in, you see that it really does have the little flowers up top, and it's all there. It's exactly what he put down there.
Yeah, and the calla lily, usually symbolizes that you're married, so that makes sense. I wonder how, so was this purchased before either one of them died, or was it?
I don't have it in front of me, sadly, but I'm pretty sure she had died and had been buried as well, which is one of the things I noticed with the monument ones, is that, these take time and they're expensive. Yeah. So usually the person's buried, and then it's like, okay, let's decide on the monument and let's pay for it. And especially a large one like this. And I don't remember exactly what the details were, but I'm pretty sure she had already died. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was curious, because I'm always surprised how often someone has, gotten some sort of windfall in their life, like 100 years ago. And rather, like, one of the top thoughts is, oh, I'll get my monument made now. And so some people, like, I don't know anyone who's come into a chunk of change and gone, oh, I think I'm going to get a monument now. It's usually left to their family, I mean, I know a couple of people who've thought ahead, but your book's going to be so helpful.
I was going to say, it's in my book about paying for things ahead of time if you want to, and how you pay today's prices.
Totally smart.
Yeah. Save money in the end. My
father-in-law did that. And when he had a thing where a limo picked us up and took us to the service, and then we all went out, he had it all planned out. And he planned it out like 25 years before he passed away. So when we went to the funeral home and they pulled out his file, the guy opens it up and he couldn't hide the look. He goes, wow, your father got a really good deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he thought ahead. Not most people don't. And speaking of thinking ahead or not, this got me a past due.
Past due. Yeah. Like, what do they do? I mean, I suppose they take you to court or whatever, but I just like the idea of, you haven't paid for so-and-so's funeral. We're going to go dig them up. We're going to take that coffin back. Like, that's a perfectly good coffin, and dust it off and sell it.
Yeah. I wonder, I wonder if that has ever happened. I can see, though, it seems like a business where there would be a lot of people who would not want to pay because they don't want to think about it. So-and-so died and they moved on. Maybe a wife's moved on or remarried. I don't know. I had never thought about the whole bill collection side of being a funeral home operator. They delicately worded it, but they're like, hey, you're going to incur more expense. Yeah, that was interesting. I hadn't thought about that before, though. Nicole says she knew about that bombazine because her mom used to sew. Okay, mine did too, but she never made anything with bombazine, as far as I know. You got a cool mom, Nicole. That's neat. All right, this one's from 1925. Yeah, this one is great. Really interesting. Okay, tell us about these.
So this isn't the prettiest one I own, and this is basically not for like a bill for the family who's died. It's a bill to the people who want to sell these things. So this is the wholesaler, selling to the direct seller. And so, but it's the steel grave vault. And the reason I got this one, other than it has a cool picture, was it says the only guaranteed water, vermin, and burglar-proof vault manufactured. Now, if it had been during the 1800s, I would have said, oh, that's interesting, but not weird. People were worried about their bodies being stolen. But this, I believe, is 1920, what was it, 28?
25, I think.
25? Yeah. And it seemed very late to be worrying about some burglars getting into your coffin.
Definitely. I know. That is interesting. It was still a lingering thing that they thought burglar proof. Well, I mean, I would like to see a graph, but it's definitely, it was not quite the thing at that point.
When we research it, we're not looking at the 1920s, like because it was supposed to be, for dissecting bodies and everything for the medical establishment. And by then that's completely legal here in England, there's not limits on it. So I suppose they say, they do say burglar. So I suppose if they're buried with an engagement ring.
I wonder how often that kind of burgling. The other one I heard a little bit about is when, a famous person passes away. And so people might steal the body and ransom it, but I have not looked into that very much. But apparently that's why Henry Ford has a mort safe over his grave. And I was like, what? So it's one of those things I haven't Have you looked into that much? I really haven't.
I just, just incidentally, like I know Elvis is buried under like 2 tons of concrete or something.
Oh, Ava like Perón. They had to do that.
Yes.
With her body was stolen and all that. Yeah, yeah.
And then I think Lincoln they had to do because people broke in and tried to get, so they dumped stuff on top of you. Be like, nope.
Yeah. Wow. What's this? See, my mom used to sew. What's she telling us now? Dentist too.
Putting their teeth in there.
Oh, dentist. Yeah, people. I used to work at a dental office. Yeah, people will be like, I don't want to pay. People never want to pay, do they? No. Make everything free. Oh, hey, hi. Everyone's saying hi. Howdy. I got a fun audience. So, okay, so, oh yeah, the House of Diggs. For first off, the name of that place, a funeral home being named House of Diggs, just kind of, I don't know. This is 1955, right? I was picturing it like 70s or something, with velour pantsuits. But
Diggs.
House of Diggs. Waka-daka.
So this one is owned by, this is a Black-owned business, and I believe it's in, Tennessee or...
Tennessee, Nashville.
Nashville. And so it's a Black-owned business, and so it's had been around for quite a while, and it was owned by someone who I don't remember if he was at this point, but he would eventually go on to be a very notable representative. Congressman. So he was at this point. So it was owned by a man who went on, or who is at this point, which 1950s, I suppose it's, it's pre-civil rights movement and everything.
Yeah.
So this African-American, this Black man who owns this very successful, if you look up the history of this place, this is, largest, finest, I can't, swear for finest, but largest, this very big funeral kind of company. And not only does he own it, but he's in Congress, which is incredible.
That is cool.
But I also liked with this one, it says, I forget the exact wording, but it says, the very best in so many ways.
Like, what does that mean?
How many ways? Like, what kind of ways? But it also, in the actual letter, I believe it says, we've sent you a body. He's writing.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. He says, I'm sending you a body. Let us know how the embalming turned out when he gets there. We just want to
do it right?
Yeah. If he's rotting a little bit, let us know so we can make changes. And it's bizarre the things they have to think about, but yeah.
Oh yeah. And I was just seeing an article a couple months ago saying that for some reason white people tend to go to certain funeral homes and Black people tend to go to certain funeral homes. Like there's some sort of racial divide with the funeral homes. I didn't delve into it too much. It was just they were commenting like there's no real reason for it, but it just seems to be a lingering, vestige of weirdness.
It used to be segregated cemeteries as well.
True. Oh yeah.
I was just over in West Texas at Fort Davis, and Fort Davis is teeny tiny town, like 2,000.
Oh, I'm gonna go there next month.
It's great. We loved it. But there's go to the Pioneer Cemetery, which is a historical. They don't use it anymore. I think they stopped in 1912. And then just down the street from that, I believe it's called the St. Joseph's Catholic Cemetery, but apparently locals still call it what it was originally called, which was the Mexican Cemetery. And they're literally across the street and just 200 yards away from each other. But in the 1800s, when the cemetery was being used, that was for the white people. And then down the street on the other side was the Mexican cemetery for the not white people. And it's, So I suppose when you have that as at the same time as you have the business of funerals building up, you are
that makes sense.
Separate because white people are going to go to the ones that bury them in the white cemetery, and
and the tradition just continues. Interesting. I know I always like it when I go to a cemetery that it's now become one big cemetery with separate sections, because they started off like, Catholics here, Protestants here, whites here, Blacks here. And then like the Oakwood in Fort Worth, now it's like just this one big, everyone thinks of it as one cemetery, because I'm like, it's all grown together. There's different gates, but I'm like, eventually.
Yeah. It's incredible that the idea of segregation extended to dead bodies.
I know.
You have to be buried around white people even when you're dead, because it's unbelievable. Yeah.
I know, crazy. Well, so this one really got me. I love this one actually. I didn't just the fact that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is one of my newest. I kind of stop around the 60s, 70s because then it's just modern.
Yeah.
But this one was amazing. This is 1967, so this is
Yeah.
right before the Summer of Love, and it's a bill for digging of a grave. I love grave digger stuff. I don't know why. And you can see that Floyd Cruz dug the grave and he made an X for his signature. And it says Floyd Cruz made X for signature for being paid because in 1967, this person who dug the grave still couldn't sign his own name.
Yeah. And it is interesting to me too. Like the minute I saw this one, yeah, signing with an X. I mean, literacy, we just assume is so, I mean, I know there's still an issue, but I mean, just not to that big of a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, that someone would sign their name in the X. I mean, if this were from the 1800s, I would not be surprised. Even in the 19, I'd be like, oh, someone signed with an X. But 1967, someone signing with an X. And then the other thing was right away when I saw this one, I was like, that handwriting kind of looks like my grandma's now. I mean, it has evolved. We have those super floral, maybe even my mom's handwriting. I can see the evolution of handwriting. It's from the earlier and some of the ones we're going to see later, I'm like, oh yeah, this is by the 60s. It's still pretty fancy by today's, measurement. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. I love that. Yeah. All the handwriting. Oh yeah, this one.
Yes. So this is 1894, sorry. Mm-hmm. And, embalming in America, embalming had been around since the 1700s, but embalming in America really takes off during the Civil War to get the soldiers' bodies home. And then Lincoln is embalmed and goes on his little train trip back to Illinois. And that's when people went, ooh, this president who's been dead a week, he looks really good. Maybe we should get into
Don't he look natural? Yeah.
But that's, 1865. So this is almost 30 years later.
Yeah.
And you can still see that, embalming is basically everyone's doing it at this point. But it's
all the rage.
It's still a bit squiffy because they have, it's a good thing they can say embalming successfully done.
And thanks. I'm glad you told me. I mean, like, yeah, that sort of undermines my confidence somehow when they have to say, like, you go to a chef and they're like, and we never give you food poisoning.
Never,
it's like, what? Why are you telling me this? Kind of, now I don't know.
We've been successful in the past with embalming people, we promise.
It has happened. We have succeeded. At least once. I mean, yeah, what is the subtext here? It kind of makes you wonder.
And that's another one where you can see it's funeral and furnishing undertakers and furnishing. Yeah, they're just constant funerals and furniture. Yeah.
Yeah, living, dying, it's just all one store. I was thinking about this. It's like, imagine going to IKEA now and just being like, oh, let's go to the casket section and getting a flat pack coffin or something with impossible directions.
That would, being buried is expensive. If they got into flat pack coffins, people would buy them. That's $1 million. You need to patent that. That's $1 million.
My $1 million. IKEA, are you listening? Come on, tell them. Oh, yes. Oh, this is a thing I always keep my eye out for. It's when people misspell cemetery by sticking an A in here. Mm-hmm. And it happens a lot. And what I love about this one, I mean, this is really beautiful looking, but like you say, they mention it a bunch on here, but they spell it right several times and then they don't as well.
Yeah, the word cemetery is on there 3 times and 2 times it's spelled correctly and 1 time it's spelled with an A. And it's like, that's a weird typo if it was just once, but no, yeah. And that one, I mean, that one's beautiful, like so beautiful.
Oh,
and also, it's just notable. $500 friggin' monument for whatever.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 1914. And it's it's a reverend, so I assume it's a church paying for their pastors.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but that's
almost an annual wage right there. I mean, that's like a lot of big money. Yeah, and this is just a beautiful. I think I've spaced out on this for a little while, going, wow, that looks so cool. High class monuments. And the thing is, like, I had wondered sometimes if maybe it was a choice to spell cemetery with an A, but when I see it spelled, most of the time correctly and the one time wrong, I think it just is a common spelling error, because
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
But even now when I'm searching on eBay for stuff, I will spell it wrong on purpose because I know some people will have put up things and spelled it wrong accidentally. And so I'll be like, okay, let's throw an A in, see how many, and stuff does come up. People still do it.
It is, yeah, it's a good research technique is to know the misspellings, the common misspellings, and go for them.
Yeah, there it is. It's the one on the right, the tiny one, or the one on the left, excuse me.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, cemetery.
So funny.
Now you focus one of your focuses for collecting is you like to find businesses that are women owned, and I think that's really great. You have one from 1947.
Yeah, I got these two in front of me. I got those out. Yeah, the Davis Funeral Home. Yeah, we got Mrs. Harlan Davis, proprietress. And then
I love the word proprietress.
Proprietress. And so she gets proprietress, and on the other side is Albert A. Davis, manager. So I'm assuming, and this is an assumption, that maybe she owned it with her husband, and now her husband has died, and her son has taken over as the manager. But I still that may not be what happened. I think that makes the most sense.
That sounds like it, because considering how it worked with women owning anything or having any access to money, that seems the most logical way.
So 47, this is pretty much when I start seeing them. So we'll see my other one too, which is very close in date. And the only other one I've ever seen that was owned by a woman was actually from, I believe, the 1880s. And she's actually mentioned in the Victorian Book of Death. I assume you probably have that because it's she's mentioned it there as Eleanor someone. Anyway, it was on eBay. Why don't I own it? $1,500.
Yikes,
and I was like, if I had $1,500 to throw away on a woman-owned funeral business in the 1880s, I would do it, but no.
Yeah, I think just a screen capture is going to have to do at this point. That's a bit much out of my realm. Wait till you get on the New York Times #1 list or something. I also liked though how it said lady assistant, like lady. You know, we just don't we wouldn't never say lady. Oh, lady will be, I don't know. You know what I mean? Just the way
what it was, and you see those a bit more often, and I do like to get those as well. It's if you have a woman who died and you don't want a man working on her for whatever reason, you have a woman who can be the one who undresses the deceased. So they want to be like, you know what, we understand here. We can have a lady do those things for you. So that totally makes sense. I see that. Just using the word lady kind of got me. We don't really refer to we'd say a female. I think it is lady. Like, no, well, I mean, because lady and a gentleman, it means, she's going to be, she's not just female, she's a lady. She's a lady. Then we have, what was this again? Gertrude G. Gilbertson. Yeah, I love her because her name's front and center on this one. So yeah, this is actually a year earlier than the last one. But so you can see that pattern there of by the 40s, especially this is, post World War II when a lot of women went into work. If all the embalmers and funeral home attendants went to war, a bunch of women learned how to do it. There's still people dying. And she's just straight up. Yeah, I like that. She's just, hey, Gilbert, there's no there's no my husband, there's no my son, there's just here's my name, and I like it too because like Gertrude, this is definitely a woman. Without researching, that is not a name that's gonna be weird that was given to a guy back in the day. No, she could have been like G. Gilbertson, just to kind of cloak it a little bit. She's just like front and center. Hey, I'm Gertrude. Here's Gertrude. I'm gonna embalm, here to do it. I think it's great. It is. Lady attendant again. So now I understand why they would say that, because I was like, lady attendant. So there's another. This is 26. So that wasn't female owned so much as it was that lady attendant again. Yeah, I assume it's, a wife, a daughter that they kind of bring into the business. It's like, okay, people don't want me touching their grandma, even when she's dead. They don't want me seeing her naked. So can you do those things kind of thing? Yeah. And I wonder about what auto hacks are. Do you know? No, I mean, this would be, where is this from? 2026. This is Camden, Camden. I don't know. Is it Massachusetts or something? Oh no, Maine. Okay, yeah, I think it's Maine. So yeah, so 1926. You have to start thinking where we are with automobiles, and so a hack is I'm not a horse person, but it's a thing that a horse can pull. So
I have no idea.
It could be literally like, okay, we're in the backwoods of Maine. Just so everyone knows, we have a hack, but it's an auto hack. So
it's kind of like a precursor to a hearse.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it means. I haven't done research, but that's
I didn't know I was gonna, but I suddenly realized, wow, the show is like in an hour. I better quit looking at all these things. I was looking stuff up, like, what's this?
I swear I have researched things on these. It's just that you could go on forever,
Oh, I know. You could it's endless, which is so neat. All right, and another one of your focuses is you're interested in anything to do with cremations, and so I kind of bunched together a few of those that I thought were interesting. This was the 1910 cremation. I'm like, I have to ask her about this. Yeah,
this is amazing. I think it's I wish I had it in front of me. Is it 1910? Yeah, 1910, which is, so this is in America, but that's early cremation.
I wonder why they did it. I mean, that is so early.
That is really early cremation, especially in America. And so you have, and you can kind of tell that from this bitchy letter, because they had cremated someone and they had checked about permits and things like that. And they're writing to the person who gave them that information saying, you said we only needed this permit, but it turned out we needed another permit. So we show up at the cemetery and we're trying to bury this lady's remains, and the family's standing around. I mean, I'm embellishing a little, but that's what it's like. It's a bitchy letter. Like, we
underlined, underlined.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're telling you this so you can know for next time.
Yeah, I was like,
it's a show, like, I doubt the people getting yelled at did it on purpose. This is very early in cremation and the rules are still unclear. It's not common at all.
Yeah, and part of grieving is, you can get kind of grouchy. So, I mean, but yeah, I did like it. It was just so like, yes, I'm typing it out. And very, very angry. Very truly yours. And then that big, okay.
So passive aggressive.
I know. Yeah, but also I really, you do wonder the story behind that, because I mean, this would have been a bit maybe even controversial in their family, or why did they choose to be cremated? So yeah, this all this ephemera just brings up more stories and gives a little here's someone. Hack can mean a vehicle for hire as well, says Debbie. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you. I had no idea. Interessant.
That's really good to know.
Yeah, good to know. Oh, here's one. Yeah, a bill for a cremation.
Yeah, this one is British. Yeah, this is in England, which is, or it may not be England, but this is over in Britain. And they got into it just a little bit more than we did a little bit earlier. So whenever you see something cremation-wise, a later date in America is still going to be slightly more impressive. But this was not, by then they're kind of getting into it. But they have cremation coffins, and so
which sounds so fancy.
Something they still do. You see it in period pieces sometimes. They have the coffin, and then it goes down, and then and it's different than what we do here. But so they have a little coffin.
I know that the cremation coffin sounded like they're burning so much stuff. I mean, it's fitted with a lid and covered with violet cloth. I mean, you're just going to burn it. And it's like, just all this inside is padded, lined, and trimmed, and like, what? Side sheets, ruffle, and pillow. I'm like, yeah.
But at the same time, what are you going to do with a nice coffin that isn't cremated? You put it in the ground. So, and it's going to rot.
True.
You're taking these nice things that it costs a lot of money.
That is absolutely true. You're right.
See them once. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Bye. And then this was just the top of it. I had to show it separately because it was so beautiful. And I like another font that I was just like, wow, that is so cool. I mean, look at that. It's just really the British, like you mentioned, their letterhead for these or invoices is gorgeous.
They're unbelievable. American ones tend to be relatively simple. You might get a nice font, but like one line of nice font and like a small picture in general. And then the British ones look like pieces of art. That's incredible. Like this isn't even one of the most notable. This doesn't have pictures or anything.
I know. I wonder why that is. Why that's such a difference. Yeah. Oh, and then we hear also auto hack can also mean motorized, no horses.
There you go. See, everyone's smarter. Everyone knows.
We're learning, guys. I know. I love this crowdsourcing. Everyone's got things. You had a few telegrams, and I just found these really wow. These really spun me off because I wanted to know the story behind them all, and they were so fascinating. Here's one from 1930.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of crowdsourcing things, if anyone wants to take a screen grab and run with this, or get a hold of me and I'll send you a picture. I have totally reached a dead end with this, but Edith and her dad were killed yesterday. Jane and I all right. What is the story there, Jim? What is the story?
I know, you just expect him to say, and I had a sandwich for lunch. You know, I mean, it's just so I understand telegrams have to be terse, but it just comes across like, God, how do you would have to read that sentence. Like, imagine being in your house and you get this, oh yeah, Edith and her dad were killed, but hey, I'm fine. You know, like, what?
And it's like, okay, they were killed. Were they murdered? Did your house burn down? Like, what happened?
I know. Did it fall off a train? Yeah, I don't know. And I was going to say, too, it got me thinking that never in my life have I received a telegram. I mean, have you ever gotten one?
No, never.
Still, I guess, send them. I don't even know. I mean, honestly, I don't know anything about telegrams. I mean, except that, like, I'd like maybe a singing telegram would be fun. But, yeah, Western Union. This was the height of.
Yeah, there's a really short readable book called The Victorian Internet about the invention and rise of the telegraph, the telegram, and it is really fascinating, and it makes these telegrams make a lot more sense in a lot of ways. It was written originally in like the late 1990s, so it's comparing these to the internet when the internet's like barely a thing. But
it's like AOL or something.
Yeah, they revised it like 10 years later. So if you get the newer edition, they have like an afterword and everything. But some of the internet information in it, the comparisons will sound a bit dated. But the main point still stands. It's like, this was the fastest. This changed everything. You could, once the cable is laid under the Atlantic, you can get information from the other side of the world in a very, very short period of time. But it becomes the fastest way to give someone information. But at the same time, it's for the average person, it's relatively expensive because you have to pay per word. And so you try and get.
It's like Twitter, but you have to pay.
Exactly. Or it would be like if Twitter or a text message was the only, like, there was no email, there's no phone calls, was the fastest way to get information to someone. And maybe they're going to need to hop on a plane to come to the funeral. They need to know now. But yeah, you have to pay a very large amount of money, and you're about to pay for a funeral that's going to cost a ton of money. So you're like, you know what? I'm sorry you're going to be bummed, but I have telegrams that literally say, Dad died, funeral Thursday.
Oh, I think one's coming up like that. That one was just such a, which one is it? They're coming up. Oh, here's.
Sorry, I forgot which ones I sent you.
I know you sent me. Oh, this one was, well, we'll get to that one that was just so like, who sends that? But this one got me because it's like a whole, like, this could be the back, blurb for like a book, a detective. I mean, what happens? It's like, what? These names, like Leon Duvall and.
Yeah, this is one of the early ones I got. And so when I only had a few, so I had more time to do a lot of research into them. And so it was really fun. I actually know someone, I posted this on Facebook, and I know someone I went to high school with, and he's like, I used to live down the street from there.
Oh, how interesting.
He's like, it's not that anymore. But yeah, so McKinley Stokes and Leon Duvall, they were both Black men, and because I've looked them up, and they had an argument over a pool game. And so Stokes killed Duvall, and Stokes ends up in, I believe he's in San Quentin for a little while, which is the famous one out there. And I believe he was in another. He got 10 years for manslaughter in the end. So yeah, but trying to get a hold of his wife and needs to get over a pool game. Gosh.
I know, that's crazy. But yeah, it just makes you want to know the rest of the story. And then this one, like the way it was written and everything is so evenly spaced.
Mm-hmm. This is, Queen Victoria does not write telegrams on behalf of herself, but this is one of, let's say, my more expensive purchases, because I'm also very into royals, like death and royals. So when you combine them, I'm like, that's perfect. So this is sent on behalf of Queen Victoria from Balmoral, and I forget the year, but I believe she's in mourning at this point. She's up in Balmoral doing her mourning thing, and being sad that she's a widow. And so she sends, it's sent on behalf of Lord Bridgeport, which I looked him up as well, and he's essentially her chief of staff at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the guy who's kind of running everything for her. He did it for quite a while. So they're in Scotland. Lord Bridgeport's like, oh, the Queen has desired me to express her sorrow for the loss you have sustained and is very sorry to hear it. And so it's sent down to Windsor to a Mrs. Mannering. And I've looked that up.
Mannering, what a name.
Yeah, I've looked that up, and I can't figure out. She seems to have been a housekeeper of some kind. And there is a male Mannering who did die like a couple days before this and is buried in one of the cemeteries at Windsor. So yeah, it seems it was sent to a servant, but like a high enough up servant that she would send her condolences to them.
Oh, okay. And then I like that the charges to pay were nil. Good. If she was a servant, I'm sure Miss Mannering, yes, nil.
The Queen does not pay to send her condolences to someone. No. Yes, and that one actually, because I realized I just sent you pictures, but that one is big. That one is a full page size.
Oh, really? Oh, I was picturing it like this. I don't know. Wow.
So this telegram. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder how long it took him to like write that. All the words are so evenly spaced, just, and then of course
when you're writing on behalf of the Queen, it needs to look perfect.
Oh, you got to get right.
They can't. Yeah, it's amazing.
Be a little nerve wracking. And here's another. This is the one that really got me. This is the total gut punch.
Yeah, your father is dead, buried Monday. Yeah, it's like, you want to come? Come. Here's your information. There's also
have a nice day. Yeah,
your father's dead. Here you go. And that was, it's kind of weird because the telegram opened up the ability to send people like little nothing notes or little love notes or whatever. And so people did do that. Like people of all social classes did do that. But at the same time, since it was expensive, it was fast, it was very much used for announcing death. So people kind of knew when you got a telegram, sure, it could be something for business. That was the other big thing. But the chances of it being someone is sick or dead were pretty good, especially if it's someone you don't expect to be sending you a telegram. So,
and I guess the poorer you are, probably too, the worse it is going to be that you've got a telegram. Like if you're pretty poor and they're like, I've got a telegram, ruh-roh,
Yeah. So you kind of know. There's a funny cartoon from Punch or something back in the day. Yeah, there's a funny cartoon from Punch or something back in the day where it shows a woman and she's got her kids around her and she receives a telegram and it's different, squares of her going through emotions of, it's from her husband. And she's like, oh, he's sick. He's fallen off his horse. He's dead, blah, blah. And she opens it and it's like, oh, I'm going to be at the office until late.
Oh, which was probably a thing people. Yeah, and this one to add to it. Your father's dead, buried Monday, and then it's like, and then it like you owe 25 cents. Is that what they're saying there? Like just to add insult to injury. Oh, by the way, and give us a quarter.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of like call and collect or the way mail worked kind of before the post office where it was the recipient who would pay. I don't think it was the common. I could be wrong on that, but it could be a thing of like, I'll pay part of it and then the other person's going to pay the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. JR, thanks for coming. Whoop, whoop. Let's see. What's it say? They poured a lot of concrete over Sandra Westgrave. Oh, that's another person.
Yeah, so they didn't steal the car.
Isn't that nuts? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I suppose when it comes to robbing a grave to steal something, that's actually probably a grave that would be worth robbing. I don't know how you do it without anyone noticing, but you get a really
hard to be subtle. Yeah.
Yeah. Get a nice car out of it. So
yeah, that's right. Oh goodness. Okay. And then, all right. I know it's the top of the hour. I guess we don't have to spend a lot of time on these, but some of them are so pretty. I just thought we could look at them and then people be thinking of the questions you want to ask or start putting them in because it's already, I knew the time was going to fly.
Sorry, you talk a lot.
Oh, no, I don't think at all. I mean, but yeah, this is great. This is beautiful. I just put them in there.
Unbelievable. But again, upholsterers, cabinet makers, undertakers, general house furnishings, always furniture.
Yeah, always
unbelievable. Oh, is this the one where he has a royal warrant as well? Yeah, by special appointment.
Yeah.
So, but those are not for the funeral aspects. Those things are obviously taken care of by the state, but other things are sold to the royal family, so they have a royal warrant, this company, which I think is cool.
And then I just, gorgeous handwriting again. It's more of the old-fashioned handwriting, which is just so pretty
and so detailed. That's the other thing with the British ones. They go over everything. So like an American one might say coffin this much, and then this one will be like coffin with brass, and it's going to be brushed brass, and it's going to have this on the inside. So you learn a lot.
Great. Yeah, that is interesting. Here's one from 1904, still very fancy as we get into 1904. And I kind of divided them up so we could take a little more of a look. This one just, wow.
Yeah. And you can see in the middle bottom there, that's a funeral procession. That's a whole little design.
So neat.
Funeral procession with a little hearse in the middle. It's incredible.
Yeah, I got all in. And then they also have all kind of stoves and mantelpieces as well. Undertaker is like the big thing. It's got the big fancy, but then like stoves. That was interesting. That was kind of an interesting side to it. Yeah, really pretty. And the handwriting again, just had to take a peek. Yeah, you're right. Preparing and polishing elm coffin. You're right. I didn't really jibe to the fact that the British ones were so much more detailed, which is great. Here's JR saying, I have to be honest, African American funerals are more of a celebration of life and happier than other funerals I've been to. Huh. Yeah, there are certainly definite cultural differences. I was raised, Presbyterian, and our funerals are pretty boring. And, I did attend a couple Jewish ones now, and I actually really liked those better. I like the whole like sitting shiva where people sit in the house and there's all sorts of good food, and there's actually a lot of laughter, and people are. It seems like they make a lot more effort to have it be a kind of joyful, whatever.
Yeah, any religion or ethnicity. I'm thinking of the Irish that do a wake type thing where you get people together and there's booze.
Yeah,
a lot more fun. Yeah,
my uncle on my husband's side, he goes to relatives' graves, and they're Irish on that side, and they will like drink whiskey and then pour one on the ground for the relative and drink another shot. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Next time we're up, I want to go. I want to go to the cemetery with him. I'm never out there drinking and pouring it on the graves. I like that. I liked the detail because I was always curious. Like when I see booze at a grave, like are they drinking it with them? Because I've never experienced that. So I've experienced drinking, obviously. But all right, this one is another gorgeous one. I'm just gonna get it up here. Yeah. Leighton Buzzard, what a catchy name. And then just that E, oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know. I'm babbling about how pretty.
No. Yeah, these are, the pretty ones, again, I know we're out of time, otherwise I'd be saying more. Yeah. It's like the pretty ones at the end of the day, they're like, that one has paid for ringing knell, which is ringing the bell on that. So like there's interesting stuff on them too. But really, it's like, wow, these are really pretty. And
I think maybe this is my favorite handwriting of all.
Really cool handwriting on that one.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah. It would take me an hour and a half, but it's just not that I worry about my handwriting in this day and age. It's sort of not something we worry about so much these days, but it's still delightful to see. Like, I don't know, when I get a letter from someone and I've known them my whole life, and you just recognize their handwriting, there's just something about that. And this handwriting's really great. Yeah, I got a couple more, I think, or maybe just one more because it was in another language. I had to share it. This one is just, I don't even know. What language is this?
That's Hungarian. Oh. But also at the top, it's in French.
I noticed that.
Yeah. But you can see, that bit, the big bit is very obviously in French. But then you look at the other bit and you're like, that doesn't look like French. And you look at top, it says Budapest. So yeah, it's in Hungary.
It is so cool. Really love that. Which goes, Catholic here, usually very reserved and formal. Yeah, I haven't been to a Catholic one, but they certainly, funerals do vary.
Yeah, to plug my book right at the end. There's
I was gonna say, we're getting here now. You guys need to, number one, you need to pre-order this book. Oh, Sorry, my dad's still in the hospital, so I don't turn off my.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you need to get that, go.
Oh no, that I don't. It's spam risk. I think they can wait. They've been trying to get a hold of me all day. Well, anyway, but yeah, she's got It's Your Funeral on. There are links. Let me put. You can pre-order that one. Y'all need to. And then, yeah, go ahead. Tell us about what you're doing.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, in relation to the Catholic funeral thing, I did discover when researching for my book, a lot of the things that I say, I kind of have to go, unless you're Catholic, because they have rules about this. Like a lot of religions have rules, but don't necessarily have to follow them. But it's a lot of things. If you want to have a mass said for you in a Catholic church, there are rules.
Oh, yeah.
They will make sure you follow them. So, yeah, I have a lot of, unless you're Catholic, in the book. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, Debbie's asking, what's the most oops, haha, so true. Oops, wrong one here. What is the most unusual article you have seen on a bill?
I suppose, actually, I have my oldest one right here. There's a lot of, like, that booze one is just amazing. But this is the oldest one I have, which is 1726. And I'll hold it up.
I'll bring it up so people can see you.
Anyway, this is 1726, and it's in pounds, but it's actually in America. But it's before.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And so you can see, like, digging the grave to coffin, things like that. But at the top of it, and it has a slight transcript here.
Interesting. So it's in America, but it was in pounds. I just had never thought about that. See, the things you think about on this stuff that you don't think about. I would not have thought about that.
Why would we have the dollar? But yeah, it's in I can't remember, where is it? It's all the information on here. But yeah, early American estate accounting. It comes in a little. It went to auction at some point. It comes in a little.
Oh, wow.
That has the information. But yeah, Joshua Tuttle, head of the bill, blah, blah, to 6 days attendance, bedding, fire, and candles with victuals, drink, and trouble. So they're basically charging him for the trouble they went to be there.
They said trouble.
trouble. And trouble. I like that.
That right.
Yeah, bedding.
Well,
attendance, bedding, fire.
Done that when I worked at my husband's boat shop, man. And $400 for trouble. I'm sorry, it's kind of a pain. And oh my God, that's great. Victuals and trouble.
We went through. I like that one because it's very like we're being paid for our time. You know,
oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, that is so perfect. Wow, that's standing up for those are good boundaries. And the trouble you caused me, sir.
Yes.
Good fine, sir. It'd be all very polite, I'm sure.
It says what, 6 days? You know, that's a lot of trouble. That's a lot of trouble. Stand there for 6 days, having the victuals.
Having the victuals. Wow. OJR, assemble your own coffin. He might be just tuning in and getting to the IKEA flat pack idea.
Yeah, there are coffin clubs. You can build your own coffin, especially if you're in New Zealand. That's where they started, and they're big there. But they're kind of we're getting into it. And yeah, it's generally for elderly people who are retired and want something to do. Go build your own coffin and paint it and design it. That's in the book as well.
Wow, that's neat. Well, I remember last time you were on, I learned that Jimmy Carter has 2 of those cool Ghana coffins. I wonder if he plans to use them, or because they're so cool looking, or if they're just some sort of decor.
Yeah, those coffins are in modern art museums, so it could be one of those like investments, or just think it's cool. But I just love
maybe there was one like a peanut shaped or something.
Yeah, I love the idea of him. I mean, we don't want him to die. He's amazing.
No.
He's in his 90s. It's But like lying in state in the rotunda and just in like
in a big peanut coffin,
a big fantasy peanut coffin made in Ghana. I think that would be.
Oh my God, that would be.
I hope he does.
That would be great. Up on the that would be. Why not, man? That would. If anyone could pull it off, he could. Now, Duckman wonders. I would guess these documents are hard to find, but where would someone start to look for these type of documents?
They are, well, I mean, again, I've been doing it the past year, so I haven't been out and done it in person, which I think would be a whole nother level of fun, like sifting through old documents, places that sell them. But seriously, go on eBay, start typing in things like funeral invoice, funeral bill head, coffin bill, any combination of like bill, receipt, invoice, and then anything like cremation, funeral, cemetery. If you want, we didn't go over so many letters, but I have a lot. I have a lot of letters as well. And so go to the correspondence, pre 1950 or pre 1900, and just type in death, funeral, telegram, funeral, telegram, death, anything. I mean, it's, just combination of the type of piece of paper you want and anything to do with funerals and death. And
I'm really fascinated by
communication.
Oh, yeah, we're all going to be obsessed. But I think the telegrams really grabbed me because I'm so into communication. Just any form of communication kind of fascinates me, and just to think of how awful that was, a horrible way to find out. I remember the first time I found out someone died through an email.
Yeah.
And even that, I read it and it just said, your friend so-and-so died yesterday, blah, 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 in a motorcycle crash. And I closed my email. I was like, I must have read that wrong. He's not dead. But I was just like, it seemed really just weird and wrong to get it and so modern. So I can imagine back then to find out about a death that way just must have been so bizarre. You have so many questions. Now, what all do you want to tell us about? Tell us what's happening next for you, what we should be aware of. I'm aware of your book, and everyone should go pre-order it. And I do have the link below. But what else going on for you that you want to tell us before you go? Because we.
Right now it's the book. It's going on podcasts, putting it out on Twitter, all that. Sell. Got to sell the book. Please go pre-order. Please, I'd like to have a career after this. But you are preaching
to the choir here. This is a great audience for you. Oh yes,
but that's the next couple months, and then I've already talked with my editor at Quirk, and we're kind of brainstorming another death-related book. Which once I have time to sit down and come up with a pitch, I will send her a pitch.
All right.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, that would be really cool. But just keep trying to write books. That's the goal.
Well, I love all the research you do, and I think it's pretty apparent to anyone watching that your books are very thoroughly researched, and that's one thing I really love about them. Sometimes I read an article or something online, and I realize there really wasn't any real research behind it. Not to knock people, but I mean, there's a difference between actually actively researching things and then just using Google, which has its purposes. But you really dig into these stories, and you share them, and they're wonderful. Now, here we got a comment. I found it weird. Funeral info was on Facebook. Yeah, it is kind of weird. I did go to a Zoom memorial over the pandemic, and I'm glad I did, but it was weird. Hi. Oh, whoops. Colorado Martini. Hey. All right. If anyone has any more questions for Kathy, remember, time flies. Now's the time to tell them to us. Have to go back and look at that again. All right. Sometimes I hate it when I close out and then like 5 questions come in. So I'm just giving people a minute. There's like a 10-second lag from us talking before it goes out. And then I know that not everyone types super fast too. Sometimes they're on their phone. Great show, too, and Kathy, and you were right, too. I knew this would be up your alley, Kenneth. Oh my gosh, yeah, he has some ephemera as well. It's the Afternoon Tea League. Okay, everybody. Well, I guess I should tell you, before I let Kathy go, I should let you know next week we have Martha Hazard Decker coming on to talk about Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells. They were named like the most haunted place that Jack Osborne on that show that he does that I have not seen, but whatever. Ozzy's son went there as part of some show and had some crazy experiences. And I've been there and had weird experiences. And it is pretty darn haunted, that whole town, I got to say. So make a spam risk. They're after me. So anyway, check me out next week. Oh, if you haven't seen this, check, or if you've missed some of the past shows we've done, I've had some nifty people on. Last week we had Dan Shaw talking about vortexes. That was really cool. Way over my head. I was like, what?
That was really neat. Definitely information I did not know.
No, I was just like, huh? And next time I'm going to have him on, I'm going to get his origin story from him more, because he said some interesting things happen. Before that was E.R. Bills, who does wonderful research too about Texas. He had really weird stuff involved, like that time a little town got up to 140 degrees in Texas, stuff like that. You might want to, if you want to laugh at me, go to watch this. The oldest guest I've had, Ernie Kern, sweet guy. He and his wife clean monuments, and my computer completely went out in the middle of our interview, right when he was going to tell us about raising 4 pet bobcats. I came back on and I thought, wow, Ernie, he told me he wasn't very computer literate. Whatever, he was holding down the show. I was like, man, just take over. You don't even need me.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, what's this? I found it. interesting that many years ago when someone died, they kept the body in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you covered that a bit in your first book.
Oh yeah, I mean this is something I know we're out of time. I go on forever, but yeah, it's that difference between when death was people died at home and then people were buried from home, and it was your family who cleaned you and got you ready and everything, to you die in a hospital and there's a funeral parlor and we don't want to interact with the dead. Caitlin Dowie says a lot about like touching dead bodies. Like we're afraid of it, but it's a good thing. Like if someone dies and you can touch them, because it's what we did until the past 100 years. And now we've been totally ripped out of that because, you know,
I did appreciate it when my father-in-law passed away in the hospital. They were like, you can sit with his body as long as you want. They didn't rush us or anything. And you know, they came, got us Kleenexes, brought us some water. I mean, it was really nice. And they were like, yeah, you can touch him or, you know, kiss him goodbye or whatever. It was, which I thought, I don't know. I worried about that, him passing away. It's just awful, someone being in a hospital anyway, and you feel bad when you're not there when it happens. So yeah. It's a lot of things to think about. Here someone says, Wade's saying, I watched a Captain Fantastic on Netflix. Great movie. There's a scene with appreciating the dead in the coffin. Huh. Oh, I have to look for that. Captain Fantastic. I have not seen that. Oh, I think that's one with Viggo Mortensen is in it. I've seen it going by. It looks interesting. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, good. I will have to keep that in.
That's really cool.
Yeah, people are. All right. Well, we have kept you. I knew the time was just going to fly by, and it did. And I didn't even share all the things that you.
I know. I'm sitting here going, oh, we didn't talk. I've got like 4 things out.
I know. I'm sorry. There was so much I wanted to go into. Another time, I'd love to have you back to talk about your book after it's out or whenever you feel. And, you know, anytime you've got something to share, obviously, even the ephemera again, or if there's just one aspect of it, if there's just something that you just, you know, your family doesn't want to hear about, but you're interested in it. Me and my crew are going to want to hear about it. So you can come back on, and you've got built-in audience here. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody who's watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. Go out and pre-order Kathy's book unless it's already out. There is a link. Click on it. And we want to support her as much as we can. All right. So goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much. And I hope to see y'all around the interwebs or see you next week. Ciao.